All right, let's talk a little bit now about this final tip, or this area of the coaching process. You'll notice that several things are happening here that we saw in the world-class coaches and in the original research that we did. Again, the TIPS model is just an easy way to remember all the things that we saw in these world-class, highly effective leaders. They were good at creating support. That's a given. That's at the middle. But then they also do a good job of describing the topic, helping a person step back and see new angles, and help them turn on that mental light bulb. And then they do a good job of creating a solution, not forcing a solution, but allowing that solution to grow and develop and facilitating the creativity from the person you're coaching. And then this final area here, the S, sustain. Sustain is an interesting word. I like the word. Sustain means how do we make this plan and how do we make this coaching process last, and how do we make it go on and live? How do we nurture it? Basically, there's about 3 things to keep in mind when we think about sustainability. Number 1, you have to recognize as a coach that there will always be setbacks, that there's always going to be some resistance, some obstacles, some barriers, some excuses sometimes to overcome. Coaches are prepared for this. They know those obstacles and barriers are out there. Good coaches are not afraid to talk about those barriers and obstacles. They're willing to put those out on the table and discuss it and to try to come up with some recommendations and some solutions. Now, those barriers and obstacles may come up early on in the discussion. They may come up during the planning process, or they may come up later on as the person begins to move forward and implement the plan itself. So recognize those barriers, and when they come up, don't be surprised. Don't attack the person. In fact, thank them for letting you see those obstacles and help guide them to alternative actions, alternative plans, and of course, alternative commitments. We call it redirecting the excuse or the resistance. Redirect it to a workable plan of action. Look for new alternatives, be creative, and look for ways to work through or around the obstacle. Good coaches try to send one message: no progress is unacceptable. Even a little progress is acceptable. So if we run into an obstacle, let's figure out some way of dealing with that. The next part of sustain is making sure that the person you're coaching understands the benefits of taking new action. If we implement a plan, if we stay committed to our plan, what is the upside? Or in other words, what is the gain? What is the win? What's the positive outcome or benefit that we might expect if this plan is fulfilled? It's not a promise. It's not a guarantee. It's simply a coach explaining to the person that you're working with or developing that every time we make positive steps forward, there's positive benefits. And if you can help them see that relationship, you can be very effective as a coach. Likewise, if there is no progress, if there is no commitment, if there's no plan of action or no sustainability in execution, then everyone will have to deal with the risks and the challenges of not changing. So a coach has to be careful. Emphasize positive consequences or outcomes. Also, as needed, or when it's needed, you can talk about the risks of failure, which is something we don't want to do. We want to stay over here and try to get all of the positive consequences and positive gains of moving forward with this plan of action. But if we don't move forward, there are risks. Make sure you talk about those. Make sure they understand that. It's only fair to them to understand what they stand to gain and what they stand to lose. The final piece of sustaining, I think, centers simply on your ability to follow up, to reinforce, to recognize, to celebrate even small amounts of progress. When you ask that person, when can we meet again? When can we talk? When can we review? I think it sends a powerful message that you're committed to the process and that you're not going to give up. It says that you're determined and you're persistent, not in a harsh way, but in a very supportive way. I think you just want to tell the other person you're coaching that you're available and willing to help and support them as they go forward and as they struggle to bring the plan to life.